Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for today in the rLounge. Betrayal rarely arrives out of nowhere. It grows quietly. Whether it's a father parading his double life at his daughter's wedding, a decade-long relationship unraveling after a single not yet, or an engagement imploding because feelings were never dealt with when they should have been, each of these situations asks the same question in different ways. When the truth finally comes out, who's actually at fault? The person who detonates the lie, or the one who built it and expected everyone else to live inside it? Let's get into it today in the rLounge. Up first, the moment one man decided his daughter's wedding was the perfect venue to debut his double life. Dad invited his mistress to the wedding, so I exposed them during my maid of honor speech. I, 27 female, am the eldest daughter of my family. My parents have been married for 30 years, and my younger sister is 25 female. 3 months ago, my sister got engaged to her boyfriend of 5 years. They decided on a relatively short engagement, wanting to get married in early summer. Naturally, I was asked to be the maid of honor, and I was thrilled. The wedding planning started immediately. My mom was super involved, helping with everything from venue selection to floral arrangements. My dad seemed supportive, but mostly stayed in the background, which was pretty typical for him. He'd occasionally offer input on costs or logistics, but generally let my mom and sister handle the details. During our Easter family gathering, I noticed my dad being unusually protective of his phone. He kept it face down on the table, and whenever it buzzed, he'd quickly grab it and step outside to answer calls or reply to messages. When he returned, he always looked slightly flustered. My mom didn't seem to notice. She was busy discussing wedding details with my sister. At one point, I walked past him while he was texting, and I caught a glimpse of heart emojis being sent to someone saved as work project. I didn't say anything at the time, but it definitely raised some red flags. A couple weeks later, we had a venue walkthrough for the wedding. As we were discussing the final guest list, my dad suddenly suggested inviting his work friend to the wedding. He claimed she had been really supportive of his career and would love to see the venue since she was into architecture. My mom looked a bit uncomfortable but agreed to add her to the guest list. My sister was too preoccupied with wedding details to care much about one additional guest. What struck me as odd was how enthusiastic my dad was about making sure this woman got an invitation. He even offered to personally deliver it to her at work. A week later, I was downtown grabbing coffee when I spotted my dad at a cafe across the street. He wasn't alone. He was sitting with a woman who appeared to be in her early 40s, attractive, well-dressed. They were sitting close, leaning toward each other, and at one point, he took her hand and kissed it. This had to be the work friend, and this was definitely not a professional relationship. I took out my phone and snapped a few photos. They never noticed me. My dad was cheating on my mom, and now he had invited his mistress to my sister's wedding. The wedding was less than 6 weeks away. This could potentially derail everything my sister had been planning. I managed to find the woman's accounts. Most of her content was public, and what I found confirmed my suspicions. There were several photos of her and my dad together, dating back nearly 2 years. While they never explicitly stated they were in a relationship, the captions were telling. "Another amazing evening with my favorite person. Counting the days until we can finally be together. 2 years of the best lunches a girl could ask for." After my dad left the room, I found my mom sitting alone in the kitchen, looking defeated. When I asked if she was okay, she confided that she'd felt something was wrong for months but didn't want to rock the boat before the wedding. I agreed, not wanting to stress her out further, but privately, I started planning. If my dad was going to bring his mistress to my sister's wedding and seat her at the family table, I wasn't going to let it slide. As maid of honor, I would have to give a speech, and that speech was becoming my opportunity for justice. My dad introduced his work friend to our family members as if it was the most normal thing in the world. She was wearing an inappropriately flashy outfit that drew attention away from the bride-to-be. My mom maintained her composure, but I could see the pain in her eyes every time she looked at them. During the dinner, I went to the bathroom and overheard the mistress on the phone in one of the stalls. She was saying how perfectly everything was going, how his wife had no clue, and that after the wedding, he said he'd finally tell her he's leaving. She mentioned she'd waited long enough. Throughout the ceremony, I noticed my dad constantly glancing at his mistress, who was seated prominently among the guests. During the reception, they thought they were being discreet, but I saw his hand on her lower back when they thought no one was looking. I saw the private smiles they exchanged across the room. I prepared a traditional maid of honor speech, full of childhood memories and well wishes for the couple, but I had also prepared a backup presentation on my phone, connected to the venue's projection system that was being used for a photo slideshow. The DJ had already shown me how to switch inputs for when the father-daughter dance photos would play later. When it was time for my speech, I started normally, toasting my sister and her new husband, sharing a funny anecdote from our childhood and wishing them happiness. Then I pivoted. I told everyone about how our parents taught us about family values, honesty, loyalty, and respect, how they modeled what we thought was a loving, committed relationship, which made what I was about to do difficult. I pressed a button on my phone, and the screen behind me changed from the wedding logo to the first photo I had taken of my dad and his mistress at the cafe. I announced to everyone that this woman sitting at our family table was not just my dad's colleague, but had been his mistress for the past 2 years. I explained that while my mom was helping plan this wedding, my dad was planning his exit. While my sister was picking out her dress, he was picking out hotels for their rendezvous. I played the audio I had recorded in the bathroom. The mistress's voice filled the reception hall about how after the wedding, he'd finally tell his wife he was leaving and how she'd waited long enough. The mistress tried to flee to the reception hall, but in her haste, she tripped on her dress and fell directly into the corner of the wedding cake table. The multi-tiered cake wobbled and then collapsed, partially landing on her designer outfit. My sister stood frozen. My mom had tears streaming down her face, but remained seated. I finished my speech by saying I wasn't sorry that his perfect plan to play happy family man one last time before abandoning his wife of 30 years had been ruined. My mom deserved better. We all deserved better. The reception dissolved into chaos. My dad tried to approach my mom, but her brother stepped between them, telling him to leave. The mistress had already fled, cake frosting staining her expensive dress. My sister initially wouldn't look at me. Her perfect day had been imploded. I spent the night in my apartment with my mom. She was sobbing. My sister called early the next morning. I expected her to be furious, but instead she sounded drained. She admitted she was mad at first, but after talking with her husband all night, she realized I did what I thought was right. Dad was the one who brought his mistress to her wedding. Dad was the one who had been lying to all of us. She told me she and her husband had decided to leave for their honeymoon as planned. My mom would be staying with me until she figured out her next steps. My mom hasn't spoken to my dad since the wedding. She's meeting with a divorce attorney tomorrow. My dad has moved out of their house, presumably staying with his mistress, though I don't know for sure because I've blocked him everywhere. Was I wrong to expose them during the wedding? I know it caused a scene, but he brought his mistress to his daughter's wedding and seated her at the family table. He was flaunting his affair in front of everyone, including my mom. Something in me just snapped. I don't regret exposing the truth. I do feel bad that it happened during my sister's wedding, but I don't see how there could have been a good time to reveal that our dad had been living a double life for years. So, Reddit, am I the a-hole? Update. It's been a week since the wedding disaster. Dad moved out of the family home the day after the wedding. Mom found out he's staying with his mistress, which confirmed everything. Mom has already started divorce proceedings. While going through their financial documents to prepare for the divorce, she discovered he'd been siphoning money from their joint accounts for at least a year. So not only was he emotionally cheating, but he was financially cheating too. Classic. The wedding video has been making the rounds among family and friends. Only his parents are still defending him, saying he made a mistake and I shouldn't have humiliated him publicly. Dad's company became aware of the wedding scandal after the video circulated. Apparently the mistress works at a client company and the relationship violated several company policies. The mistress's husband, yes, she's married too, discovered the affair through the viral wedding video. Someone recognized her and sent it to him. So now there's another family being torn apart by their selfishness. I don't feel bad about it at all. My sister and brother-in-law hosted a small redo dinner last night for close family and friends. Dad somehow found out about this dinner and tried to crash it. He showed up uninvited, claiming he had every right to be there as the father of the bride. The police officer escorted him out. During the dinner, I gave a proper toast this time, celebrating my sister and brother-in-law's love without any dramatic revelations. It was the first time I'd seen Mom genuinely laugh since the wedding. It felt like a small step toward healing for all of us. We found out today that Dad lost his administrative leave hearing. His employment has been terminated due to ethical violations. The mistress is also facing workplace consequences for unprofessional conduct. So that's where things stand now. Thank you again for all your support. Not the a-hole. Let's be very clear about who detonated this wedding. Your dad didn't make a mistake. He ran a 2-year deception, stole from joint accounts, violated workplace ethics, lied to his wife's face, and then had the audacity to invite his mistress to his daughter's wedding and seat her at the family table like she was part of the program. You didn't ruin your sister's wedding. Your father turned it into an affair reveal party the moment he brought his mistress, her smug confidence, and his wandering hands into the room. All you did was stop pretending. That's not being an a-hole. That's refusing to be complicit. What do you think? Up next, what happens when unspoken feelings ferment long enough to become a full-blown disaster. My girlfriend of 10 years said she needed more time when I proposed to her. Am I the a-hole for checking out of my relationship ever since? My girlfriend, 25 female, and I, 25 male, have been dating for 10 years. Prior to dating, we were close friends. We have known each other for almost 17 years now. Last month, I proposed to her, and she said she needed some time to get her life in order. The whole thing shocked me. She apologized, and I told her it was okay. However, I've been checking out of my relationship ever since she said no. As days pass, I am slowly falling out of love with her, and she has probably noticed it. I've stopped initiating date nights, sex, and she has been pretty much initiating everything. She has asked me many times about proposing, and she has said she's ready now, but I told her I need more time to think about it. She has assured me many times that we are meant to be together and that she wants me to be her life partner forever. We live together in an apartment, but our lease is expiring in a couple of months. I don't really plan on extending it, and I'm probably going to break up with her then. Am I the a-hole? Let's check in with some top comments from the community. The first one says, if you're sure about breaking up, do it now. The OP replies, okay, I will let her know tomorrow. We have our 10-year anniversary on Friday, and she said she has planned something really special for me the whole day, so I'll let her know before then. Next person says, did you and your girlfriend have a discussion about marriage before you proposed? The OP replies, yes, I did go ring shopping with her a few months ago to pick out her ring. To be honest, I'm feeling a bit depressed about everything, so I just want to block this out from my memory. A third person says, you've known each other since you were 8. You've been dating since you were 15. This is the old lady in me talking, but neither of you have experienced much else than each other. Yes, talk to each other. Others have said this, but you really need to work this out. It's very possible that breaking up is the best thing for both of you. You're both still young. Don't decide to get married just because you've put in the time. The next person says, I agree with the other comments that not communicating any of this until your lease is up is a dick move. It's bad enough you'll both be experiencing adulthood without the other for the first time, but you have a huge advantage by knowing you need to prepare ahead of time. Leaving her in the dark is cruel and undeserved, since it sounds like all she did was not accept a seemingly surprise proposal. I want to break up with my fiance and pursue a relationship with her sister after she kissed me at Thanksgiving last night. Am I the jerk? November 29th, 2025, 17 months later. So I, 26 male, am engaged to my fiance, 26 female. We've been together for 11 years. Our biggest relationship difficulty happened last year when I proposed and she rejected me. You can check my previous post for more details. That was genuinely the worst moment of my life. Even though she apologized in the days and weeks after and said she panicked and that she did want to marry me, I was very close to ending things. Eventually I stayed, and a few months later I proposed again, and she said yes immediately and was super happy about it. But it's always been in the back of my mind how she rejected and humiliated me when I first proposed to her. So my fiance has a sister, 27 female. The three of us grew up almost like a trio. Growing up though, I was always closer to her sister. She always reminded me of my own sister who passed when she was 10. She asked me out once in middle school and again in freshman year of high school, but I always saw her like a sister, and in sophomore year, I started dating my fiance, her sister. She was nothing but supportive and was genuinely happy for us. So yeah, Thanksgiving was yesterday. I was invited. I'm close with her parents too, and we all drank, laughed, talked. Late at night, my fiance's sister asked if we could go to another room to talk. We were both drunk, reminiscing about old memories, and she kissed me, and I didn't stop it. The worst part was that I've never felt anything like that before. It wasn't butterflies. I literally felt like white sparks behind my eyes and this deep feeling in my chest. I felt like my heart skipped or something, like a heart murmur. It hit me so hard that even now, just thinking about it, I can feel that heart murmur. I asked her today if she regretted what we did, and she said, not at all, and that she was just shooting her shot one last time and would respect my decision either way, and also admitted that if I did choose her, it would likely destroy her bond with her sister and also the family dynamics, but she said it would be worth it for me. So yeah, I know it's horrible, but I'm just thinking about so many emotional moments my fiance's sister and I have shared. Like when she was there for me during my worst moments, including sleeping on the hospital chair for 3 days straight after I had a major accident. She asked me out back when I was overweight, shy, and had zero confidence. I only started dating my fiance after a huge weight loss transformation, which took almost a year. But her sister never cared about any of that physical stuff. She's always been super loyal, And that kiss, I can't lie, I've never felt like that ever in my life. Would it be wrong to end the engagement? I'm not delusional about the consequences. I feel sick and nauseous even thinking about the fallout and the ruined family dynamics. But I would never have even thought about entertaining this if my fiancé hadn't rejected my proposal last year. Ever since then, it's always been at the back of my mind. Let's go back to the community and check on a couple of top comments. The first one, you already have your answer. And to be honest, your fiancé deserves better too. It's not like you would never see her sister again if you stay with your fiancé, which would likely turn into an affair sooner or later. I don't have to tell you how effed up all of this is, but at least be kind enough to let your fiancé go to heal from this and find someone that feels sparks while kissing her. Also, be ready for a massive backlash for both of you from family and friends. The next commenter says, you and your sister are horrible people, so in that way, you're perfect for each other. Also, have the guts to own what you're doing and what you're about to do instead of trying to blame your fiancé for your disgusting behavior. Well, if my fiancé hadn't turned down my marriage proposal the first time, I wouldn't be cheating on her with her sister, and I wouldn't be about to tear her family apart by leaving her for her sister. It's all her fault. Clearly, your fiancé was right to tell you no the first time. Her mistake was saying yes when you asked again. Update. Hey, so only posting this update because a lot of people were asking for an update. This will be my final update. So yeah, sadly I don't have a great update. I broke up with my fiancée yesterday and yeah, she was expectedly shocked and sort of panicking, etc. I felt horrible seeing her cry like that and seeing that reaction, and she kept asking why, and I told her that I just don't think we're meant to be together and that she deserves someone far better than me. She was kind of wailing and stuff, and it broke my heart. So obviously both our families are shocked, especially because we had just had Thanksgiving and they asked a lot of questions about the wedding and our future plans and even baby names, etc. So yeah, everyone's pretty shocked. I didn't really want it to become this big a drama, but it sadly has become a huge drama and everyone is speculating what happened. I met my fiancé's sister last night for dinner and we both realized the gravity of the situation. We spoke at length and I told her we should probably take some space and take it slow, maybe wait a few months, and she said she was willing to wait however long. She recommended that we can move to a different state. We both work remote, so that works in our favor, and we can choose any state we like. I asked her many times if she was sure and if she had any regrets after seeing her sister's reaction, and she said she loves her sister and that the situation obviously sucks, but that love is love, and that the love we have and the deep connection we have is very rare, and that now that she had it, she would never let it go, ever, till she dies. I got those heart-fluttered feelings again, and this time I was sober, and we didn't even kiss. It was just her words. So that's probably my final update. Thank you all for your advice. The proposal rejection clearly hurt you more than you ever admitted, and instead of working through it together, you checked out emotionally and let that resentment grow. That alone probably meant the relationship was already over long before Thanksgiving. Dragging things out, especially while planning to leave when the lease ended, wasn't fair to her. Ending the engagement was the right move, but not because of destiny or sparks, because your fiancé deserves someone who doesn't carry a quiet grudge and doesn't look elsewhere when things get uncomfortable. And if you pursue her sister, you should do so knowing it will permanently change multiple relationships, not just yours. Thoughts? Thank you for joining us today in the rLounge. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time. And please put your chair back where you found it.